Welcome to this webcast from UKROEd. My name's James Luckhurst, and today's event comes to you from the National Motorcycle Museum, very close to Birmingham, where we're attending the 2025 TyreSafe Briefing. Our webcast has the title Redefining Risk, Modern Strategies for Safer Roads, and we really have scoured the road safety landscape in search of some of the best and brightest thinking that sits behind technology-driven solutions, whether that's AI-powered speed detection, dynamic road signage, in-vehicle alerts, or systems to keep people safe at the riskiest locations where road traffic meets rail. Earlier this month, the International Level Crossing Awareness Day, or ILCAD for short, was marked in more than 50 countries, including an event at the National Railway Museum in York, which we attended. It's shocking to hear, as an example, that in the United States there were 268 fatalities at level crossings during 2024. So here's a detailed running order for today's programme. We'll start with a look at tyre safety initiatives, particularly those involving technology and artificial intelligence. With us to discuss the latest developments is Stuart Lovatt, Chair of TyreSafe. We'll hear from Anne-Marie Penny at National Highways about the organisation's current strategies for behavioural change. We'll look back on the recent International Level Crossing Awareness Day with a European perspective provided by Isabel von Vern from the International Union of Railways, Greg Morse of the Rail Safety and Standards Board, and Alan Spence, Chair of the Global Level Crossing Alliance. And we'll hear from Frank Golden from Irish Rail with a case study on their partnership working with An Garda Síochána, the Irish police, to reduce incidents and harm at level crossings across the country. And finally, a conversation with Sean Mayer of Quartix on the role of real-time alerts and post-journey feedback in changing driver behaviour. We'll be looking for evidence of measurable reductions in speeding incidents that have followed. By the way, if you have any comment or would like to share your thoughts on anything you hear in this programme, do drop an email to media@ukroed.org.uk, and we'll share a selection of feedback and discussion points in a forthcoming edition of the Inroads Bulletin. Right, let's get straight down to business, and a reminder that we're at the National Motorcycle Museum for the 2025 TyreSafe Briefing. So here's some background. New DVSA data reveals a record-breaking 2.15 million vehicles failed their MOT due to tyre defects in 2023 and 24. That's a 17% increase since 2020. Alarmingly, more than 750,000 of these vehicles have previously received tyre-related advisories, indicating widespread neglect. Stuart Lovatt is Chair of TyreSafe.
This is our TyreSafe's annual briefing, where we pull together both the tyre industry and road safety partners and other organisations who are working with us. Currently, we are working with over 202 organisations, and there's more people who have been signing up today. So we're hoping to get way above 200 organisations following today's briefing.
Now, TyreSafe has aligned itself with Vision Zero. So in practical terms, what responsibilities does that put on you, and what does it tell us about your vision and what you're hoping to achieve?
Well, TyreSafe is a road safety charity, and we campaign. So the responsibilities, well, not really many responsibilities other than to help us to amplify our message. We're all about advocacy. We certainly do not lobby government for changes to legislation. All we want for is compliance with current legislation, whatever that may be. So Vision Zero, obviously, it's crucial. What we're trying to do is to reduce all incidents that might be tyre related. So it's not just about trying to reduce the number of fatalities or the number of people killed or seriously injured. We're trying to reduce all incidents, and that could be a breakdown. Because of course that in itself leads to significant expense, it leads to harm, it leads to pressure that people will be put under, leads to failed deliveries for businesses. So what we're trying to do is zero harm is what we're aiming for.
And what do the statistics look like at the moment?
A whole myriad of statistics, and we've got a very, very strong case for action. When you're talking about KSIs, unfortunately, last year when the statistics came out, it is a 29% increase where tyres have been recorded as a contributory factor. So that went from 153 to 190 KSIs. But we know that is a significant underreporting. Tyres, where the police officers deemed them to be one of the 6 contributory factors, is usually only about 2%. Very often they will put that down as driver-rider error, which in a way it is, But what we need is better recording within Stats 19, because we don't even know the scale of this problem.
Let's have a think about your campaigns, because you're the experts, you know what works. Tell us a little bit about how you can get inside the mind of a driver.
Well, behavioural change is always the panacea of road safety. We're trying to bring about societal change. What we're trying to do is our campaigns is we're articulating for greater understanding. We think there's a very good and clear case for action, but also there's a very clear case for why should somebody want to look after the tyres of them. It will reduce their risk. It will save them money by reducing incidents. Things like your insurance premiums could go down, particularly if you're operating a business. But also, more importantly, it can actually help the environment. If you're driving with underinflated tyres, for example, you'll wear your tyres out quicker. You would use more fuel. So whether you would want to look at this in terms of your own benefits, which is really why should somebody change their behaviour, because there's significant benefits to you, your organisation, your family, as well as reducing risk and trying to reduce the number of incidents that we've talked about.
Now, you've been 3 years in the industry now. What kind of passion have you detected amongst those that you're working with?
Well, I think today's briefing has shown that it's twice the size as it was last year. We continue to grow. As I say, we're over 200 organisations that we're working with now, both across the industry and across road safety. Without the industry support, the charity wouldn't exist, but without the road safety partners who do the delivery of what we're trying to aim, then it really is, as we're here today talking, our theme today for the annual briefing is stronger in partnership. It is all about working together, working closer together, and to advocate the reason why people need to change their behaviour and to look after their tyres to reduce incidents.
Away from the actual tyre industry, let's just see who are your partners, who are your collaborators.
If you go and have a look on TyreSafe.org, you will see under our road safety partners the organisation we're working. They work from the big organisations, government organisations, National Fire Chiefs Council, UKROEd, Road Safety Trust, GREAK, the ROSPA. We are so delighted there are these organisations coming on, because again, they're all helping us to get these messages out. And what we do, for example, with Road Safety GB, working with the local authorities and the Road Safety Partnerships, what we do is we create free at point resources to be used. We create toolkits around the whole gamut of things, from towing to only last week we were doing a new campaign with the Diabetes Safety Organisation talking about tread safely, people who've got peripheral neuropathy. So what we're trying to do is rather than just, we're looking at this DFT Stats 19 statistics, so rather than just looking at what the police have recorded, what we're trying to do is look at the gamut of what could be causing harm on our roads, and we're working whether you're towing, whether you're driving for business, whether you're in the agricultural community, or you're equestrians. We work with those organisations to help get that message out. So it's as we create these resources, we make sure that the tone's right, the content's right, the imagery is right, so that the people who are getting these messages know that it's based on official data, and the imagery and the tone is right, so that we can work with these organisations to get that message out to their members, their customer groups.
At the TyreSafe Briefing, there were a number of awards presented, including to Lancashire County Council for its Fleet Toolkit. Tony Crook told us more.
So we had a real issue with our fleet operators and our integrated transport service, where their drivers were checking the tyres, and even though they were picking up some tyre defects, he was still taking the vehicles out. So there was actually taking non-compliant vehicles out on the road and transporting people, so an absolute no-no. So a win-win with working with TyreSafe. We've done some real good work. We've got a toolkit, a video, worksheets, posters that goes in all the fleet services, and the toolkit that can then educate our drivers on what to look for, how to check it, and when to flag errors.
And let's meet two people from the Lancashire County Council who appeared in the video produced by the council. First of all, Dan Fisher.
This is a perfectly legal tyre in terms of the minimum tread depth, but what you can see ranging from the inside to the outside of the tyre, if you look in these tyre treads, the wear bars, there are uneven distances from the main surface of the tread. So you perhaps got 3mm on the inside edge, ranging to maybe about 5 or 6mm on the outside edge. So uneven tyre wear is almost always due to something such as a suspension geometry failure, maybe accident damage to the vehicle. There's clearly an underlying cause through normal driving operation where this tyre has worn unevenly. So this isn't the only course of action that we'll have taken. We'll have inspected the vehicle thoroughly to repair any outstanding issues. But then, as a matter of course, we will replace this tyre because the untold damage that can't be seen just with your eye to the structure of the tyre.
We're just not going to take that chance.
Secondly, Michael Grayson explained what damage to look for in a tyre check.
So it's not the usual tread depth that you might think of that usually ends the life of a tyre. It's other damage, and it's really important our drivers know what to look for. The really, really important thing is to make sure that if we have got any damage on those tyres, we spot it, we don't take the vehicle out on the road. That leads to, if we're caught, there's an accident perhaps, or prosecution, not just for the council, but for the driver themselves. And drivers often don't know, but it could be 3 points for every tyre that's got an issue. So if they've got 2 defective tyres, that's 6 points in one stop.
Mm-hmm. Now, shall we let the viewers into a little secret, Stuart? Because every now and then your phone beeps. It could be on a weekend, couldn't it, with a message from me, because I'm passionate about it too, in my role as a special constable in mid-Wales. And does that help you, that you know that things are going on, that I'm having those conversations and I'm shocked by the things that I find?
Well, I think it's great that you're out there, James, doing this, and I wish there were more special constables as well as police officers who are out there. Yeah, I suppose they do that. But I think that what you have been able to show to me is the fact is that you are seeing this because you are looking. You are picking this up. You're getting messages. People are reporting people who potentially, I think one of the messages was somebody they thought was maybe a drunk driver because he was weaving all over the road. And when you actually stopped him, apart from his indignation at being stopped, he was surprised that he had no pressure in his tyres. And then, you clearly have stopped a potential crash from happening, and which could have led to very, very serious consequences. So that's what we want to do. We want to make this part of the police fatal 5, because by reducing these incidents, then we don't know where the next, you as a special constable when you're out there on the road, nobody here, we don't know where the next fatal crash is, we don't know where the next serious incident is going to be. But what we can say is if we can reduce incidents, all incidents, if we can stop reducing the numbers of tyre-related incidents, then we're going to drive down the number of fatalities, which have not really changed much in the last 10, 15 years. And the theme of today's conference and listening to the speakers, we're all agreeing, we've got to do something different. If we keep relying on the same things, we're not going to make any benefit in driving down the number of killed and seriously injured.
Great to have the National Police Chiefs Council represented here. Tell us about what you would see strategically as the future for collaborating more with them.
Well, obviously that's dependent on the government. To say we don't lobby government, but we do very strongly advocate for change. So we heard from Carl today, the commander from the Metropolitan Police, who's now leading on Operation Topaz. What we need to do is to look at how can we get officers to, when they pull someone over, they pull somebody over for no insurance or no MOT or the potential drink driving. Well, you might as well check your tyres. So what we're asking for is for a greater understanding. We don't want more people getting prosecuted. What we want to do is that fear of detection is that you may well be stopped, and so therefore it is your duty to make sure that you are driving with safe, legal, compliant tyres in this country.
Stuart Lovatt of TyreSafe. Well, and that brings us almost to the end of this webcast. We've just got time for Stuart Lovatt from TyreSafe to reflect on what he's taking away from this year's TyreSafe briefing.
Everybody thinks that technology is going to solve this problem. For the foreseeable future, technology will not. It's still going to be the one thing, the tyres are the one thing that's going to have the human checking that. I think the main takeaway from me from today, and with your support, James, from Project Edward, but from all the other road safety partners, help us to amplify this message that we can't keep relying on doing the same things. I think we are building that case that this is a problem. Let's face it, tyres are actually probably involved one way or another in every single collision that's taking place, and yet it is a hidden problem. So if we can amplify this message, working with people like yourselves, working with all the other partners, both industry and road safety, to get this message across, is that something's got to change in this country. And I think all my time in road safety, if we're going to start to drive down the number of casualties in this country, we've got to start to address the problem that people are driving with illegal, defective, unroadworthy tyres.
Stuart Lovatt from TyreSafe, and it brings to an end this UKROEd webcast coming to you from the National Motorcycle Museum. Don't forget, if you have any comment or would like to share your thoughts on anything you've heard in this programme, do drop an email to media@ukroed.org.uk and we'll share a selection of feedback and discussion points in a forthcoming edition of the InRoEds Bulletin. We'll be back with our next webinar in the early autumn, and the conversation then will be on the topic of Vision Zero in action, with lessons from UK and abroad. But for now, thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.